everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Great day. Today we're at the C8 Corvette back out, as you can see, and today we're a pretty big video we're gonna make because I've put basically 17,000 miles on this car, and the way it's held up, I mean, over time, it's really changed my opinion about it, and I really want to share with all of you what I've learned after all this time of owning this car. It's been basically almost a year now having the C8 Corvette, and just thinking about having a mid-engine Corvette, it still blows my mind to this day. I just want to give you a really good rundown of all the things that I've noticed with this car. And looking around us right now, what do you think of this view up here? Pretty nice, right? I think that's Temecula down there, and this is just, it shows us a good glimpse of this entire SoCal city, and on top, the pinnacle of it, that is the C8 Corvette, right? Looking straight down, right away though, the paint on this car is unbelievable. This is the torch red paint color, and after all this time, it still looks brand new. It looks clean. And if I were to tell you how long ago I washed this car and it still looks this good, it would blow your mind. So I have to say, the way Chevy paints the C8 Corvette with torch red, it looks so good still after all this time. But the thing about it is that if you start walking this way and backing up, you'll notice something else. Bending down, you see those front grill intakes on either side where the radiators are? If I get closer and I zoom in, you can see how all these are rock impact points on this radiator. So what happens over time is that you get all these tiny rocks flying off cars in front of you on the highway, freeway, city streets, and it makes an impact on the front end. More so a cosmetic impact, I think, because it's still functioning fine. When I was driving across country, yeah, I started noticing a few dings here and there on that front radiator on either side. However, more so after tracking the car, it really makes an impact. So I think if Chevrolet were to offer like a mesh grille in the front of it, it would make a huge difference. I know for a fact that I've seen some online counterparts you can buy for this car, which are really cool to see. Overall, other than that, the front of this car has been fantastic. It's built so well. There are no scrapes underneath the car at all. I never bottomed this car out. Same goes for the GT500s I've had. I mean, this front end, you won't bottom it out as long as you drive the car right. That being, you angulate the front end on dips and also use that front vehicle lift. In summary, I think the front vehicle lift really will save you with this kind of a car, because going across country or going to work or even just getting some fast food at like Chick-fil-A, you will find yourself with circumstances that bring forward to you a huge speed bump or crazy dips and inclines, and having that extra front end clearance makes driving this car stress-free. Having the car raise a front end like that is a game changer. What I don't like about it though is that it's not nearly as good as a front end lift on my McLaren. On my McLaren, what happens is that my front end lift will stay up all the way up to 40 miles an hour. This front end lift actually goes back down at 25 miles an hour. So roughly it's about half the top speed of the front end lift on the McLaren. So that is one thing that it is a weakness on the part of the C8 Corvette. However, this does raise up much faster than the McLaren, the exotic car I have. The main things that I realized about this car after tracking it so much is gonna have to be the front end right here where the wheels are. Coming down where the brakes are of the C8 Corvette, this car eats through brakes, and I mean eats through brakes. At least 5 sets of tires I've been through and 4 sets of brake pads. Do you know how much money these brake pads are, by the way? $1,200. $1,200 for brake pads. That's way more than the GT500 track pack I had, and that car had 16.5-inch brakes. Huge, way more powerful brakes, front and back. And this car has way more expensive brake pads. And I think it's the Corvette tax from Chevrolet dealers. So that is one thing you will realize with this car, is that owning it, going through brake pads really hurts in the end of the day. And how many track days, you're wondering, you get out of these brake pads? Well, for me, I get roughly 2 to 3 track days per these brake pads, that being driving the car for about 4 sessions and pushing it. Laguna Seca is not this car's friend when it comes to brake pads, because I went to one event and the brake pads were fine millimeter wise, and after a full day I was going to the corkscrew actually, getting on the brakes, and I heard a very loud squeal. I come to find out when I pull off the track that, well, oh my gosh, the brake pads are now toast and we're on the indicator. So if I didn't hear that squeal, we would have been, I think absolutely doomed, because I never got any brake pad wear indicator light come on with this car. So that is one worry I have for the future. So just always check your brake pad width in between each session. The positive is this: not everybody is going to be tracking this car. So the way I'm explaining everything, describing it to you, is completely subjective to the way you drive. If you push this car, and I mean push it, you know, threshold brake, but before, let's say, the first few corners at Laguna Seca, the car is going to be eating through brake pads, as will everything else. Any other car does that. But in comparison with my Shelbys I had, the brake pad wear for the Shelby, like GT500, is much better. I think probably double the track days when compared to this. Back to the point though, this is not the track variant of the C8 Corvette. This is the one made for the masses. This is the Stingray with the Z51 performance package on it. And that being said, the Z51 makes this car not track focused per se, but it's more so it makes the car track capable, track ready, so that you can enjoy it on the track. It's not going to have overheating issues like the previous gen Z06. It's going to be able to withstand it, drive session after session, and be good. However, it's not going to have the same performance levels as your Z06 or ZR1 from the previous generations. Wait till what's coming out next from Chevrolet. Trust me, it's going to be crazy. And that is when we're going to really start experiencing what the Corvette team can do with making a track dedicated version of the first ever mid-engine Corvette. Cooling issues. Well, driving this car at Laguna Seca in the 110-degree heat and doing 139 lap times, I think it was, in that heat, the car was doing it like a piece of cake. I mean, lap after lap, the car was doing great. The car did not go in limp mode. It survived. So while I was lapping, going session after session with the C8 Corvette right here, I was seeing cars go into limp mode, like a Z06 went to limp mode, a ZL1 I think it was a modded one though, so disregard that. Also, 720Ss are going into limp mode because of the heat. So that really shows you that the cooling for this car, they figured it out. On track, this car feels at home. To me personally, the way the chassis dynamics are, the way it just responds and speaks to you, it's confidence inspiring. So I love this car. I love this car on track. And if you own one, I highly recommend that you do track it. Though the brake pads, if you drive this car hard, it will hurt you in the end of the day. However, tire life though, in comparison, it's been phenomenal. You see these back cup 2s right here? 7 track days pushing this car hard. And look at that. We still have a bit of tire left, right? So the tire wear on this platform is phenomenal because we have a better distribution of weight, I think, and also being lighter than a lot of cars out there, it makes a big difference. So I have been getting a lot of emails regarding tire wear, specifically, hey, do you run with the track camber settings all the time? And actually, I do. Believe it or not, I do. Hopefully it doesn't void my warranty or anything by me saying that. Please, no one hold me accountable for that one. I do run with the track camera settings all the time, and I don't notice any tire wear with it. I don't. I drive, let's say, about 6 hours north, about 400 miles to the track events at Laguna Seca, and then for a full day out there, I track and I drive all the way back home, and I have not noticed one time the -3 degrees of camber eating up the tires on the inside. It's just not for me. I'm not sure how it's doing so well. I really don't, but it's one of those things where I think I'm always going to run this car in track camera settings because I do not notice any difference when it comes to tire wear. But the feedback though, the car feels more precise. It just feels more edgy. It likes the camber. My second biggest complaint with the C8 Corvette, and you're going to see it right here, walk into the other side because we'll just give you a different angle. The side of the vehicle, right before the rear wheels, if I bend down, you'll see tons, and I mean tons, of rubber marks. Now, all this does come off, thankfully, but I left it on because I wanted to show you where the high impact points are for this vehicle. And this is a big gripe for me because, well, there's nothing stopping those front tires from shooting rocks and rubber all the way to the rear fenders of this vehicle, because what you notice is that the side of the car bows in towards the bottom. However, it goes back out again. You see this angle, how it's like a V? So with that being said, the path for those front tires, the rocks and rubber just shoots straight through here and hits the side of the car. So every single track day I go to, the entire side of the car gets rebuilt up with rubber. So it does become a hassle. With my GT500 track pack, a really cool thing that Ford implemented with the design is that you had a side skirt that was extended towards the front that blocks basically most rubber and rocks from flying from those front tires corner after corner, straightaway after straightaway, from hitting the backside of the vehicle. So when you get off the track, cleaning and maintaining it is not that bad. Again, this is probably just a problem for us track guys, right? Not for anyone who daily drives this car, I don't think. And you can buy aftermarket pieces of equipment that are side skirts for this car that is from Corvette Accessories, their department where they sell, pieces you can modify your car with directly from the OEM manufacturers. It's pretty cool. But for like a Z06 or a ZR1 with this new platform, I'd love to see Chevy implement some sort of design right here to protect the side of the car. In any event, I do recommend the PPF this segment of the car as well as the front end. Getting back up, let's go ahead and pop the trunk of the vehicle or the rear hatch or whatever you want to call it, lifting it up. This is another thing I noticed is that having this high wing spoiler, my fingers can barely squeeze between where the front wing actually starts and where you can lift this up. I know it's a funny thing. A cool thing about this car is that when you work on it, so let's say when I'm putting in new oil, I'm doing my oil change, and I'm just working on the engine bay in general, cleaning it out, well, you can actually push the roof hatch, the trunk, higher. So pushing it higher, it's got a maintenance working position. So yes, you can easily work on the C8 Corvette. I've done all the service work myself with the car, easily. And I think if you've got really any basic understanding of how a car works, you can actually approach this vehicle. It is not as intimidating as some of the exotics are out there, like my McLaren. So coming in here, everything is ease of access. These carbon fiber overlay panels come right off. And then regarding oil changes, I mean, all you got to do is back the car up on 2 rams and then do all the work from there. Pull out the drain plug, which is right around, I think, here, and then let the oil drain out, put it back on, and then pour your Mobil 1 0W40 Dexos 2 back inside the car, and then you are set. Let's get into the controversial topics of this car that I offended a lot of people about. I didn't expect I would, to be honest with you. I said that I don't have a use for the trunk. I really don't, because going to track days, everything's pulled out of here. So I get having a trunk for storage reasons, but with this car you have technically 2. So when it comes to going to track days, well, I have 2 gigantic areas that they have no purpose, right? So the McLaren, you've got 1 trunk, and then you've got the engine here, and everything is just slimmed down. The body just wraps around everything to make the car more compact and just race ready. For this vehicle, there's a lot of focus on the comfort side of things and also being accessible for everyone from any walk of life. If you want to get in this car and go cross country, you've got plenty of space here. You can put a whole tent back here probably. You can also put golf clubs back here. For me though, I just feel like for a high performance model of this vehicle, I would much rather see Chevy use all this space for technological reasons, that being if the rear hatch for the engine bay stopped here and then down here we can have active aero components for a rear wing that goes up and down. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see something like that, wouldn't you? And I do get it though. I do get the punchline. Only a very small fraction of owners will ever track these cars, and they're made for people who just want to buy them and enjoy them. So disregard what I'm saying as a personal attack on the Stingray. I know the Stingray is perfect the way it is like this, and what I'm saying applies to us who want to drive our cars, like I say, the proper way. And here's why I mainly use the frunk, because you've got enough space up there, I think. Like, this is my camera bag. As you can see, it's pretty big, but you've got this, again, plenty of space up here. You have pockets you can put drinks in or whatever you want, and then I can put this sideways and put my helmet on top. In general, this is all I need right here. It's plenty of space. I don't need 2, dedicated luggage compartments. Lastly, let me hop inside the car and finish it off. Oh yeah, and that's another thing that I forgot to mention. Here's one of the funniest things that I get with the Corvette. People walk up to me and say, oh, that's the new Corvette, right? Oh, I've heard it's got so many issues with recalls from manufacturers. The whole frunk flies open. Actually, Not really. Not really. I've never had one issue with my frunk, and all the issues stem from this right here. Watch what happens when you close the frunk. You push down once. Okay, it's not down all the way. You push down 2 times. Sorry, my hands are cold. And the front closes. It's a 2-step method. I've seen videos of car salesmen just slamming the front down like it's a trunk of a car. It's not like that. And also, let's look at my McLaren. It's the same exact way. It's a 2-step method. So the exotics are just like that. As long as you close the frunk properly, you've got no issues. And the only recalls that I've gotten with this car are electronic based, where you can download an update that is all software based, you know, giving me more alerts about how to close that front end frunk. Getting inside the car, as you can see, this is a 2LT vehicle, and it looks brand new, doesn't it? 17,000 miles, cross-country drives. The red leather looks great. I'm not noticing it change colors at all. Let me go and turn on the car. So right now it's about, I'd say 50 degrees outside. Let me see if I'm right. 50 or 60, 54. I nailed it, didn't I? One nice thing about this car is that when you turn on, you can have your seat saved to a certain position where it automatically goes back into your driving style. And I've saved 2 different modes right here, 1 and 2. And on mode 2, I'm actually in my race mode. The car is completely set up for me to be in the racing position, as close to the wheel as I'd like to be for driving fast. And coming this way, I can turn on the heated seat. It's freezing outside. Heated steering wheel turns on just like that. What would you like? Oh, sorry. Anyways, nothing. I want nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
Speech session canceled.
Okay, good. The car is holding up perfectly. This vehicle itself is so futuristic. The floating leather components. I mean, getting inside this car, it's like a spaceship. The whole thing, it just feels special. Looking at the passenger seat, if I move over this camera, do you see any major wear? Not really. On the sides of the leather, you can see kind of fold marks or ripple effects. That came with the car. So in general, though, everything is just withstanding the test of time so easily. One major thing I would recommend if you're buying a new C8 Corvette is get the suede option, because it just makes the car feel more rich to me. It's one of those things where I'm so happy I got it, because even having a suede steering wheel, it feels so comfortable. Though I have to admit, you can kind of see the suede is losing its original appearance. I do have to clean this out. Regular maintenance on suede and Alcantara, and you should be all set. So to answer all of your questions, no, I've never had one issue with this car. No check engine light, no main limp mode light, nothing like that. The thing's been rock solid. And for that reason, I think Chevy has knocked it out of the park. I can't tell where the shortcuts are. You know, manufacturers always make shortcuts here and there. No, it doesn't feel cheap. It feels like the most properly built vehicle I've ever had. It drives like a Mercedes-Benz on the street. The best MPG I've ever gotten is 36.6. You wouldn't expect that for this kind of vehicle. It gets better MPG than a lot of economy cars out there. It's good at everything. There are a few things I don't like. For example, when I put on Z mode, my customized mode, I always have to hit manual right here. I can't save it to always be in manual. I gotta always hit the M button. Also, the phone charger right behind you is slow at charging phones. And if the back of your phone case is dirty at all, or your phone is even cracked, you can risk scratching the rubber that goes right behind your phone where you charge it. And this general area right here, I'm not a fan of all the climate control buttons. There's so much focus in this car on climate controls. Well, like for my McLaren, it's all built in right here on the display. And I know with this car it is, right? Go right here. All the climate controls is right here. I get that there's a structural beam that goes from the front of the car to the back. It's like right here basically, and this blends everything in really well. I like the style of the car. It looks really good, has like a cockpit. If they were so keen to put buttons here, why not put like a volume button anywhere here? Because the passenger, yes, they can control their climate controls, but the most used things in a car, right, is gonna be the sound system, and the passenger has to reach all the way over here to control that. The heads-up display is one thing though. It is one of my favorite things about this car, and going into track mode, this is what I see on the racetrack. You ready for this? Oh yeah. It's gonna turn it off. If I were to summarize the way my opinion has changed with this car, this is how I would do it. Getting out, this car is probably the best all-around sports car you can ever buy. And I mean that looking at every car out there on the market right now. This, in my opinion, is the best all-around high-performance sports car. It is the most comfortable. It is the most practical. It looks the best, in my opinion. And it's got acceleration just like a supercar, 0 to 60 sub 3 seconds, and this car still routinely does it, even having 17,000 miles put on it. It's confidence inspiring and predictable on the racetrack. If you want an all-around sports car that is good at everything, but may not be the best at one particular thing, this is the car. With that in mind, I mean, like, it's not the fastest car ever on the racetrack. It is good at it. I am so happy with my purchase right here. This car has changed the way I look at all other vehicles that I drive. If this variant is this successful, can you imagine how good what's coming next is gonna be? Please let me know in the comment section down below what you think about all of what I've said in this video, and also what you think the new C8 Corvette's gonna be like, that being the next variant Chevy is making. And for all of you who like to say, never buy a first-year vehicle because they have so many issues and problems, and wait a few years so they can figure everything out, this car is living proof. It's just fine after 17,000 miles, and possibly is one of the hardest driven C8 Corvettes in the world. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button to help me out. Also subscribe for much more great videos coming your way. If you want to see a Corvette, please let me know in the comments down below how your experience has been, plus with the miles you've put on it. I'll see all of you in the next episode.